Hey guys, welcome to a new video, first one of this season. Pips here, co-founder of PropsMadness. I will do some research on the spot and we'll see how it goes. First game, big slate today. We have 11 games on PropsMadness and first game, Celtics and the Magic. I'll go to Payton Pritchard, starting with this season. He hit the over in 6 out of 9, averaging 15.3 points even though his three-point shooting was started horrible. Kind of made some shots last couple of games. But looking first, user expected minutes are 27 to 37. And so far this season, he averaged 20% usage, had 26 in the last game, mostly around 18 to 26 in these games. Only game that he had under was 15% against Knicks. So when we look back at the last season, in games when he had between 18% and 26% usage, like this, he averaging 18 points a game, but we need to set the minutes right. So when you look at the games where he played between 27 and 35, they say 27 to 37 minutes. He averaged 20 points over in 18 out of 20 games. So maybe a bit too high on usage. So let's readjust a bit, go to the 17% up to 23%. So we are a bit more conservative here, but his average is still 18.3 points and hit the over in most of the games. Going back to this season, as we said, averaging 20 and had 17 or more in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 9 games. So that 17 to 23% usage was kind of realistic. So now let's look at the matchup. Obviously, he scores most of his points with above the break 3, but this is not a great matchup for it, as Orlando Magic allows the least threes in the least and fifth least above the break 3s. So that's also seen in the spot of where they rank 9. But other than that, transition, pick and roll ball handler, isolation, and free throws, they are ranked in the bottom 10 of the league. And he also scores second most of his points in the paint non-restricted area where they allow a ton of points. He scored 53%, 45% of his points from the paint. And we can see the Orlando Magic allows second most points in the paint. So not great matchup, not a terrible one. I would say an average matchup. So with the usage in the minutes and average efficiency, Payton Pritchard over on 14.5 could be an interesting spot. Now let's look at the next game. Cleveland Cavaliers versus Washington Wizards. And let's look at Jarrett Allen. Looking at this, crushed it last couple of games, 20 against the Pistons, 16 against the Boston Celtics, and 24 against the 76ers. Pistons and Boston Celtics definitely not an easy matchup. As you can see, they are average in defending his position, but looking at defensive rating, they are 11th and 4th best. So he put the numbers against good teams. So far this season, he played 25 plus minutes in every single game and played 30 in the last one. Played twice 30 minutes, and his minutes are set to be expected between 22 and 32. So definitely expecting him to play like between 24 and 32 minutes. Looking at all the data, we can see next opponent, they are second worst against defending his dominant play scoring way. They are third worst against the most dominant scoring zone, shot zone. They are second worst defensive rating, fourth worst points in the paint allowed, the worst against his position. So this looks like a dream matchup. So far this season, when we look at the usage, tough matchups, Knicks and Bucks, 12%, 10%. That's from the lower end. But in great matchups like this one today, when you look at the position, when we exclude the best ones against his position, we can see that he averaged 23.6 usage. The lowest one was against the Boston, tough matchup. He still ended up with 20% usage. So when we look at the career with key career numbers with Cleveland Cavaliers, when Mitchell, Mobley, and Garland are playing, and they are all playing tonight, as we can see. And when he gets between 24 and 32 minutes, we can see that he averaged 14.3 points and covered this in 52% of the games. But let's put usage in the range that we expected, as we seen before, and let's put it between 14 at least and up to 26%. As we said, he averaged in good matchup this season a big 23%. And if we put it this way and set the minutes, he averaged 16 points, covered this in 72% of the game. And we didn't even look at the matchup. And if you look at the games when he played teams who don't allow, who are not best defense of the paint, where he scores most of his points, we can see that his average goes up and his hit rate goes up. Last couple of games, we can see Quetta scored 15, Hartenstein 17, Embiid 25. So the Bigs had definitely success. If we go this way, we can play around with it, but yeah, definitely in going up. When he's playing bottom 10 teams in defensive rating, hit rate is up. So great matchup for Jarrett Allen. Now let's go to the Miami against the Hornets and a rookie, Knueppel. And look at his matchup. On 3 scored, we can see that DraftKings minus 135. Novik has minus 130. So far this season, he covered this line in 6 out of 8 games, and we can see that he already played against Miami Heat and scored 5 threes on 11 attempts in a blowout loss, which is huge. So he gets the same matchup again. This makes sense because we can see on the next opponent, looking at 3 scored, Miami Heat allows second most threes in the league, and they play at the highest pace. They are he scores most of his threes from above the break 3, where they are ranked 23rd. And similar players by position, Devin Vassell, Jalen Wells, and Desmond Bain all covered their lines. So great stuff, great matchup for Kon Knueppel. But also, when we look at the unders, the under one came in a worse matchup out of the entire league against Orlando, so it looks even better. If you look at the defensive shooting zone, we can exclude like our average teams, and then he covered in every single game. So great stuff there. We can look at the injury report. LaMelo Ball is questionable. Sexton is probable. Brandon Miller is already out, so the minutes and the usage should be there. Yeah, so great matchup for Kon Knueppel. And for the last one, let's go to the last game of the slate, which is Nikola Jokic playing Warriors, or Denver Nuggets playing the Warriors. First, let's look at the regular season games. So we exclude the playoffs because it's a different kind of environment. So I'll first start. They already played this season, opening night of the season, and Jokic scored 21 points. But we can see this is atypical for Nikola Jokic, shooting 8 from 23 from the field, making only 2 out of 13 threes attempted, which is unbelievable. But he had the highest usage of the season there. Like all other games had 27 or less usage, and against Golden State Warriors, he ended up with 30% usage. But that's when you look at the head-to-head games against the Golden State Warriors, when you look at the games when he already played Golden State Warriors on last couple of seasons, you can see that he averaged 31% usage. So he kind of, compared to the 28% average usage, so he had 3% average more usage against Golden State Warriors compared to all the other games. The lowest usage he had was 25%, and all the way up to 33%, 38% here. So let's look at the last 3 seasons of Jokic, 156 regular season games, and set usage at least 25%. That's the lowest he had against Golden State. And let's set the upper limit at 38%, the highest he had against Golden State Warriors. And then look at the expected minutes. He expected to play 29 to 39 minutes. So we'll set it 30 to 38 minutes. And then we can see that he, in those minutes, with that kind of usage, he averaged 29.6 points and covered this in 72.5% of the games. So this line looks a bit low for the usage Nikola is usually having against Golden State Warriors and with the minutes he is expected to play. If we dive a bit deeper, you can see that he scores most of his points in the post-up, and Golden State don't defend that well, and they are averaging pick and roll man defense. Most of his points comes from the paint non-restricted area, where Golden State allows the most points in the entire league. So yeah, we can see 2 players played. Bigs Turner scored 17 points in only 29 minutes, covered his line, and Zubac stayed right there but didn't play any 4-quarter minutes, so he was on pace to cover as well. So this will be another interesting spot to look for an over for Nikola Jokic in this game. And that will be it, guys, for this video. I mostly played around usage and minutes, so putting range for usage, putting range for minutes, and then looking how he performed in those 2 ranges, and then trying to see what line looks a bit lower or a bit too high for the role player is having this season. Thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe to our channel.